It is so nice to be here.
Can you just imagine if I went through the entire thing just with bad audio, how ironic that would be, right? But welcome first, everyone, to Bild Expo. It's my first time here. I'm super excited to be here and to talk about audio because it's so underrated, right? But it's super important. I love that they titled this as a sound effect. But one thing to expect for today is just going to be just a process for creators, essentially. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this is because just like that, right? If I went like the entire time, right, it wouldn't matter because no one can understand me and then, you know, well, what I have to say won't matter for the rest of the day. But also, can you just imagine, like, 5 minutes in, it's just feedback and you can't hear me. I'm pretty sure half of the room, and only probably like one, maybe one, like my friend's probably gonna stay, and everyone's gonna leave, because it's horrible, right? And that's like the thing that I really wanted to point out when it comes to audio. Okay, a little bit about me. Hi, I'm Bea Chu. Usually I say, I got you, because, yeah, I'm Chu. Right? But I'm a sound engineer and sound designer turned content creator. So that was my past life before the whole pandemic thing happened, right? I graduated music production and have worked on shows like Angels in America, Beautiful, Carole King, and Sweeney Todd. I've been really fortunate to be able to work with Broadway sound designers, so they flew them to the Philippines. It was amazing. And now I create educational and hopefully entertaining content around cinematography, audio, and tech. All right, this is some of the videos that I make.
Did you know that the best place for your lapel mic is not here or here, but here?
Welcome to the series where I teach you everything I know about filmmaking and audio. And if you didn't know about this, don't worry, I got you. Most lapel mics are omnidirectional and capture sound around it. And placing it here not only gives you a fuller sound, but also lessens the chances of peaking and getting unwanted sounds such as plosives in your recording.
We're doing it right.
I gained 20,000 followers in one day.
Well, I have been uploading more videos recently, so I guess something finally clicked. Now, some of you have been asking about scripting and storytelling, and honestly, there's a lot to talk about, but I got you. So here's how I tell my stories. All you need are these three: Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. And because we're creating online, let's just add this, the hook, and this call to action, and that's how you can tell better stories. And if you want to know how that looks like, then watch this video back and follow for more.
You can take your audio from this to this without spending a lot with just this simple hack. Hey, I'm Bea Chu and I'm here to teach you how to create good quality content without spending an arm and a leg. And if you don't have the budget for a new microphone, don't worry, I got you. All you're going to need for this DIY lapel mic are bobby pins or paper clips and the headset that comes with your phone. Take the microphone on your headset, put the bobby pins or paper clips on either side, and slide it onto your shirt. Hide the extra cables, press record, and that's how...
Yeah, and that one loops. That's actually a remake of the very first video that I made that went viral. And when I made that, I almost didn't make it actually, but after I made that, and then it did well, I realized two things. One is that what is simple to you may be valuable to someone else. I didn't think it was gonna be valuable because I was a broke college kid and that was just what we did for college. Right? And so I was surrounded by people who used the same thing. It was very simple. But then I didn't realize that a lot of people would benefit from that when I put it out. And it was born out of a frustration because when the pandemic hit, everybody hit online, right? And everyone was making music covers and singing. And I came from theater, and so I knew that these people, right, they sing really well. But then they post that video and it sounded really horrible. And I realized it wasn't really the fact that they were lacking in talent, but it was really mainly the fact that they didn't really, wow, I see really a lot, huh? But it was mainly because they just didn't know how to use their equipment. And so that also made me realize the second point, which was, oh wait, before that, the world never runs out of beginners, and this is really the reason why you should share whatever it is that you want to share. But the second point is that audio quality is super important. I hope I've made that point early on in this presentation, right? Audio quality is so important, but nobody is talking about audio. Like, if I'm not mistaken, if I can say, this might be the only audio talk for the entire build. And I'm so glad that you guys are here and you're not off listening to, about filmmaking and stuff. So thank you for showing up. And it really just boils down to the point that people can sit through bad video, but they can't sit through bad audio. This is why we've got podcasts, right? So if you have like a shaky video, but then your audio is absolutely fantastic, you'd watch that until the end. But the moment, 5 seconds in, the audio is just like peaking and it's muffled and it just hurts your ears, you're gonna leave, right? Now, I touched about what bad audio is, so let's talk about that. So what makes audio bad is that if it's hard to hear, it's unpleasant to listen to, or if it's distracting. Some of the common ones are if it's too quiet or too loud, if it's echoey or muffled, like earlier, right? Especially also if it produces feedback. And then if there's too much background noise. And lastly, if there's inconsistent volume. And that usually happens like if I go like this, right? And I keep moving. But overall, what makes audio bad is that if it makes people strained to listen or want to stop watching, then it's bad. It's actually pretty straightforward, which is why I'm kind of sad that not a lot of people talk about audio. But also, that's probably because audio is so subjective, right? I could tell you, like I could play a piece of music here or recording, and I'd be like, that sounds great. But I can't be sure that what you guys hear is the same thing I hear, right? And it's really hard for me to talk about audio in that sense. But thankfully, with the age of digital and the advancements, now we're able to visualize audio, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on. And yeah, let me give you examples because this is the best way I can let you experience or tell you guys what I mean.
If you're looking for bad audio examples, don't worry, I got you.
This is what it sounds like if it's too quiet. This is what it sounds like if it's too loud. This is what it sounds like if it's too echoey. This is what it sounds like if it's too muffled. And this is what it sounds like if there's too much background noise. And this is what it sounds like if your levels are too inconsistent.
I hope that helps.
Right. So I just want to take a minute here and check in with everyone. Ooh, the room is filling up. I forgot that I didn't really greet you guys and ask you how you're doing today. Everybody doing good? Yeah. Awesome. Everyone excited for the next 2 days? Yes. Awesome. Okay, great. I only have awesome and great. Okay, so we talked about what makes audio bad. Now let's talk about how we can fix it. So I've kind of sprinkled a lot of tips in this presentation because my only hope is that once you're done and you go out, you have stuff that you can pull out from your back pocket and that you can use for the rest of your life, right? So if there's a lot of background noise, how can we fix it? There is nothing that beats a quiet room. That's it. I know it's super simple, but a lot of times people just kind of gloss over that, right? So move to a quieter space or record during quiet hours. That's what I used to do. I'd stay up until like 3 in the morning, hide in my closet, and then just record something. Now, here are some tips that I sprinkled around. Right, tip number 1, get closer to the microphone so that your voice gets separated from the background noise. So if I can keep this straightforward, when we're recording something, we've got like the noise floor, and then we've got whatever else that's in front. For my photo and video friends, it's sort of like depth of field, right? The closer you are to the background, the less separation you have. So even if you're like cranked up to an aperture of 2.8, right? you're not gonna get as much depth of field or separation from your background if you're too close to the background. Kind of the same thing when it comes to audio. So we wanna make sure that we're close because when we're far, it's also gonna take a lot of the room tone, and we don't want that. Okay, tip number 2, record a voiceover as a backup. And this is really born out of, so I've been here in New York, right, for about a week now, and I've been trying to vlog. But here's the thing that I realized. It's great to walk around New York, but then it's also really noisy. I'm walking and I'm vlogging and I'm just like, hey guys, and then train. And then it's gone, right? Or I'm walking and then there's construction happening. And in those moments, it's sometimes okay to just say, all right, this is not working. So I'm just gonna take the clips that look great and then put a voiceover on top. Saves you so much time. And there's no shame in that. There's a lot that goes into producing a piece of content that works. And voiceover, doing like a narration, is one of the really great tactics that you can apply to tell a really good story. Okay, tip number 3 is noise cancellation. And there's an asterisk there, because I don't actually recommend noise cancellation or relying on that, because the way that noise cancellation works is that it brings down frequencies that it deems or it categorizes as noise. The problem with that is our voice might be affected by those frequencies. And so when you use noise cancellation, it's gonna bring down, sure, the room tone, the background sound, and all that, but it's also gonna take out a lot of the frequencies where our voice lives. And that's how you get really bad, or like not normal sounding audio, right? Have you guys ever tried that? What was the experience with that? Exactly, bad. So, but sometimes, because of how AI is now, it actually works if it's not that noisy. So it's good if it works, but it's also not good to rely on it. Now, second thing, if it's echoey or muffled, what are some of the things that we can do? Well, it's really pretty simple. The reason why audio is echoey, right, is because there's not a lot of materials that's absorbing the sound. That's really it. And the echo is just my voice or the sound bouncing in many places and then coming back to us. So the way that we can fix that is by using soft materials like blankets, pillows, or clothes to absorb and dampen the sound. Now, a quick tip over here is to make a pillow or blanket fort to serve as a DIY sound booth. I highly encourage this because not only does it work, it's also really fun. I mean, come on. When was the last time you built a pillow fort, huh? Live a little. Okay, next, inconsistent volume. I touched on this a little bit earlier, right? But how you can avoid this is by recording a short test clip to check your levels. There's no way around that. You really have to test your levels. Can you just imagine if I got mic'd up earlier and then we didn't do a sound test? Actually, more than that. I already have, if you notice, I have 2 microphones. Now, if we didn't do our due diligence, right, and I walked in and they saw that I was mic'd up, they might not have put this on, and you guys wouldn't hear me, because this one is for my camera over there, which so that's why don't worry if you forget to take down notes today, because I'll be putting that up on socials too. Okay, so there's no way around that, and the only thing that you can do is to check your levels and then try to keep your mic close and steady. So this is a good spot, as I said in the video earlier, but actually earlier, I overheard on a sound booth that there's a really good hack that you could do, just like if you're wearing something like this, right? put like a little cardboard thing here, and then that's where you clip it so it doesn't do that. That's genius. I didn't think about that, so thank you. Next, if it's too quiet or too loud, then you have to check your audio settings and your audio meter. And this is what I mentioned earlier, that I am so grateful with the advancements of technology, because now it's easier to sort of be able to tell you guys what I mean, and it's not just like I'm pulling it out of my butt. You know, there's actually visuals for that you can rely on. All right, so this is what it usually looks like. Inside your camera, right, we've got this one. So that is your audio meter. This, if you're familiar, if you've been editing videos, that is the one inside Premiere Pro. And this is just really a feedback for us to see how loud our sound is or how loud the audio is. And it's, again, also really simple. If it's too loud, then you risk getting distortion. Now, if it's too quiet, then you also risk getting noise. I'm gonna try to say, like, okay, I'll give you an example. Also, like photo and video, right? If you don't expose properly and then you crank up the ISO, what happens? Distortion, you get noise, you get grain, right? That's also the same thing. So if you're recording something that's too quiet and then you crank up the volume in post, you're gonna get a lot of those unwanted grain and noise as well. I mean, it's not like one-to-one, but kind of similar. Everybody good so far? Great. Okay, now, I've come up with this. It's genius, okay? And it's called the stoplight rule. So it's very simple to just read an audio meter. And it's green is clean, yellow is caution, red is distortion. Trust me, I wanted this so bad to be a letter C. Couldn't find it. ChatGPT wasn't good help too. But at least it rhymes with caution, right? So hopefully this is something that you remember even after you walk out. Green is clean, yellow is caution, red is distortion. And a good tip is, when I'm recording my audio, like A-roll or something like that, I set my audio level to between -12 to -9 decibels. Now these numbers, I wanted to give you these, not because it's like the law, right? But sometimes it's really just hard to figure things out without a jumping point. So this is what it is, a jumping point. Jumping off point? Did I say that right? Okay, so audio recording level, you want to set it between -12 to -9 decibels. And then when you're using music as a background music for your videos, you want to set that between -25 to -15. And I say like a range because not all sound is made equal. And then lastly, for your audio output level, this is with your A-roll, your voiceover, your music, your sound effects, everything, you want that to sit between -6 to -3. Now, what you want to do, very important, you want to watch the meter and not the number. What do I mean by that? Over here on top, that's your meter. Down here, that's the number. When I say set it between -12 to -9, I don't mean set this number between 12 and 9. I mean adjust this so that it lands between 12 and 9. Ready, good? Great. Now, audio, like decibels, this is just really a unit for measuring loudness. So 0 is our ceiling. Anything over 0 is gonna cause distortion. Okay. Now, I'm gonna give you guys an example of what I mean. Because this is the best way, really, to just let you guys hear. And also, hopefully, get to visualize. So this is raw audio on import. I used music from Epidemic Sound. A thing to note is that, like I said, not all files are gonna be made equal. Not all music is gonna be produced the same way. And so I'm just lucky that Epidemic Sound mixes audio really nicely, so 0 means 0. But then sometimes you're gonna be using background music that's like too loud or too soft. So just make a mental note of that. So as you can see, we didn't do anything on the volume, right? And it's not going over 0. So we're not peaking, we're still kind of safe. We're not, like, we're living on edge, but it's still safe. Okay, and then next, this is what clipping looks and sounds like. Okay, you see that red bar on top? That's why I love Premiere Pro, because once you go through your entire timeline, if there's at any point audio that clips, it's going to indicate up there. Now, I wanted to spend a little bit of time here. Obviously, when we played this, it didn't blast your eardrums, right? And that's because we've got a really awesome team over there who's mixing the audio. But it's just good to note that once you let audio clip, there's no going back. It's like, again, for like photo and video, if you take a shot and your highlights are blown, that's it. It's gone. Even if you bring that down in editing, there's no data. Same thing. Once it clips, even if you bring that down, there's no usable data there, and it's just a quieter distortion. That's it. And then this one is an example of adjusting it to -9. So this is usually where we want talking. I mean, I can talk over it and you'll still understand me, but it's a little harder, right? And I'm gonna show you later on setting it down to -25. But as you can see here, right, I've adjusted the volume, but what do we really want to look at? Exactly, my guy. Okay, and then this is adjusting it to -25. So if I talk and continue talking right now, it's gonna be perfect. I just have like more vibes, right, because I got music in the back. But I'm gonna save you the trouble of understanding me, and that's gonna cut there. Okay, now, when we talk about microphones, it's the same as gear, right? Like obviously microphones are gear, come on, Bea. But like, it's the same as cameras, lenses, and all that stuff. There is no perfect camera, right? There's no perfect lens, but there is only the right camera, the right equipment, the right lens, the right microphone for the situation. And I'm gonna touch on that a little bit. And so I'm not gonna go through all that's available because that's gonna take us a long time. So I'm just gonna touch on these 4. Very simple. We've got on-camera microphones. This is great for simple and run-and-gun setups because it lives on top of your microphone. Just plug it in and you're good to go. There's not a lot of things that you need to worry about. For wireless microphones, these are great for flexibility, so you're not tied to your camera like I am right now. I'm able to walk around. I'm pretty sure it's pretty straightforward, right? So it's great for flexibility, but it is also great for more than one audio source. And this is where I start geeking out, but not now, later. And then we've got condenser microphones, and we've got dynamic microphones. Only thing you need to remember with dynamic and condenser microphones is that, okay, condenser microphones are sensitive, and they are great for capturing details. But because they're sensitive, it is not a good idea for me to be using a condenser microphone right now, because that's gonna give you guys a lot of feedback, and we don't want that. But condenser microphones are fantastic for treated places, like studios. And then dynamic microphones. These are more suited to things like this. So these are durable, and they're also great for live settings, outdoors, and podcasts. Yeah. Now, if you want to learn more about this, I'll talk about that later. I personally use a Rode Video Mic NTG because it's versatile. I will geek out about it later at 1 p.m., not now. And I also use a Rode Wireless Pro. If you want to ask me why I choose these two, later at 1 p.m. Okay, so I'm doing a hands-on audio workshop. It's gonna be pretty chill. There's no stage. It's gonna be at the audio room in room 403. You can ask me anything that you want. We can talk and geek out about gear, about audio, and yeah, I hope to see you guys later. Okay. I like that. That's a one woo. Okay, let's talk about recording real quick, because we're done with all of those pre-prod stuff with all of the equipment, right? Now let's talk about recording. So when I start recording or making a video, I just think about these three things. So you want to pick the right microphone for the setup. We talked about this earlier. You want to check your settings and audio levels. And you want to do a quick test recording. Because the last time I didn't do that, I recorded 5 reels and my microphone was not plugged in. Yeah, do not be like me. Rookie mistake, right? I know. So when it comes to recording, right? Let's talk about audio setup. You want to see, okay, do you want wired or wireless? Are you shooting it indoors or outdoors? And this is gonna matter because this is the perfect situation for you to use a windscreen.
A windscreen is something that you find on top of your microphone that lets you hear me clearly despite the blowing wind.
Paid actor.
What it does is these fluffy hairs filter out the sound of the wind so that you can hear me clearly. That's it. Use windscreens and wind muffs and dead cats.
I didn't make that up. Dead cat is really also what people say. I'm not morbid, I love pets. But yeah, so very quickly, a windscreen is something that lives on your microphone. And I feel like I need to say this because I've had some people be like, oh really? I thought it was decoration, I threw it away. Don't do that. It's not decoration, it's not to treat your microphone as a pet. But it really is very helpful when you're outside. Very quickly, the reason why you want to use it is because when it's windy, the air hits the capsule of the microphone, and it's not going to give you a good recording. That's pretty much it. Okay, so when it comes to audio setup, you want to choose, okay, are you doing wired, wireless, indoor, or outdoor? You're also going to decide are you shooting like 1 or more people, right? Because that's going to determine what gear you're gonna use. Now, after audio setup, we go to audio settings, and here we're choosing between, are we doing mono, are we doing stereo? And the choice between mono and stereo is mono, you can go with a mono recording if you know that you're pretty set with where you're recording. There's not a lot of variables that's in the mix, and everything is already set. There's no moving and all, and there's only one person, right? Or even if there's 2 people. If you're very confident that you've nailed down your levels, then you go with mono, because this is gonna make the workflow so much faster. But if you want more flexibility, more control, especially when you're recording 2 people, you want to go with the stereo setting. And a quick tip is, use stereo for more than 1 person or audio source. Now, you want to set the gain, and we've already talked about this. You want to set the gain based on. Really, guys? You want to set the gain based on? There you go, meter, my man. Okay, and then after you do that, you want to make sure that you check your levels. Because fixing it in post. Have you guys heard of this? Yeah, you could totally fix it in post. Only, okay, if you've recorded something usable. Otherwise, you're just polishing a problem. Sounds like you've ran into this a lot, huh? Okay, now, let's talk about audio editing tips. I originally planned for a demo, but I'm not gonna be able to do that right now, so I'm gonna do my best to try and explain this. Because I swear, I geek out about this. But if not, 1 p.m. later, I'll show you, promise. Okay, so when you're recording in stereo, you wanna split stereo tracks. This is gonna give you a lot more control when it comes to editing, and it's also giving you a lot more control when it comes to mixing. Case in point as to why you wanna use this is if I'm here with, say, Regan, right? And we have wireless microphones. If she's talking like this, which is fantastic, and I'm talking like this the entire time, you're gonna have a really hard time mixing that audio if it's in mono. Because if you raise it, what's gonna happen? Regan's voice is gonna be higher, too loud. But if you lower it down, what's gonna happen to me? I'll be gone, right? No one's gonna hear me. And that's one of the reasons why you wanna use stereo tracks. Next, I wanted to teach you guys about waveforms because this is my secret to editing faster. Because you can actually do a first cut just by using waveforms. And this is what a waveform looks like. You guys familiar with this? I'm pretty sure you guys are, right? Hands up if you're familiar with this. Awesome. Oh, there's a good chunk of people there who are not very familiar. Very, very easy to read. If it's a short stick, then the volume is low. If it's a long stick, then the volume is loud. That's it. Now, I wanted to make a joke, but this is recorded, so we're not doing that. 1 p.m., exactly. At least it's not recorded there. But how you can edit with this one is that you know that when it's short, there's probably no active audio, right? No one's talking. Now, this is also where, are you familiar with clappers? Like on movie sets? The thing that goes like that? Yeah. So we do that to really make it easy for people to just identify where it starts. And when I do a recording, I don't have a clapper, but I just do this. Or I literally just clap. Come on, guys. Nature's gift to us. Clapping. Oh, hey, thanks. So that's it. When you apply this, it makes it easier for you to edit because you're gonna see, okay, I don't need this part. No one's talking here. This is just extra sound, blah, blah, blah. And the last thing I wanted to show you is how you can stretch music to fit your timing. Because yeah, if I was making a reel right now, and I just get music, slap it on, trim it down to that kind of works. But it's not satisfying, right? And I really wish I have examples for you guys right now because I want you to enjoy how satisfying a good ending is, right? But 1 p.m. Okay, I'm gonna see you guys there. And yeah, one tip based on stretching your music to fit your timing is that you can hack your music for a cleaner and more satisfying ending. I feel like I didn't think that through. I just realized that was just a fancier way of saying a third point. But what I really mean by that is I was supposed to show you guys that here there are features inside video editing softwares that let you do that. It's called Remix. So in Premiere Pro, I use that a lot now. You can either remix it down to the time that you want, which is shorter, or you can stretch it out. That's also available in like Epidemic Sound and other providers. But back when that was not available, there's a hack for that. And if I don't see you at 1 p.m. later, at least take this. This is what I do. This is our music. I take the start. I take the end. I take this out. We don't want that, right? For example, it's like a 1-minute clip. I use that and then I adjust it, and then somewhere in the middle, I put a pause. What I mean by that is I don't have music. This is especially great if I'm trying to make a point. And the way that this effect works is that I'm pretty sure those people who are looking down at their phones looked up. Do you see how powerful silence is also? Right? That's the same effect that it's doing. When you put a pause in between your video, you get people's attention, you hook them back in. And so when you put all of that together, you start it very nicely, you put a pause when you want to emphasize something, get them back, and then you just continue it with the end, just stretch it out. And then you have a satisfying ending, and then you can gift that to somebody. It's like a good gift now. All right, and that's pretty much it, right? But like I said, my only goal today, talking about audio, is that I want to make sure that you leave the room with a couple of things in your back pocket, or your front, it doesn't really matter, right? So I'm just gonna go very quickly over the 10 tips for today. Tip number 1, get closer to the microphone to make your voice stand out from the background noise. Everybody good done that? Okay. Tip number 2, record voiceovers inside a car. See, I didn't talk about this earlier, but that's actually a good place to record stuff. I mean, as long as you're not outside in traffic and it's super loud, a car is a good place to get better quality audio. Because if you think about it, it's contained, but it's also soft. And so you're not gonna get a lot of reverb. So the next time you need to record something, do that in your car. And also, when you're in the car, you can just drive away to a quiet place, right? So there you go. A mobile recording studio, right? Tip number 3, angle your head to avoid plosives, or use a sock as a DIY pop filter. Preferably clean, please. I'm begging you. I mean, it's not like perfect, right? But it does help when you don't have a dead cat. And what I mean by plosives is, okay, show of hands. Who here knows what plosives mean? Oh, I thought that was gonna be a lot more. Who here does not know what plosives mean? Awesome, I get to give you guys knowledge today. Okay, so plosives is really just when you get, I hope this is okay. That's it. And the way that I can let you experience this, and I'm gonna need some audience participation for this. Everybody raise your hand. Awesome. Okay, put that in front of your mouth. And then start talking. Say, Bea is awesome. Thank you. You guys are so sweet. But did you feel that air, touch? Yeah, that's what we wanna avoid. Because that, when it hits the capsule of your microphone, is going to cause that very unpleasant sound, okay? So instead of doing this, Bea is awesome, you could just angle it a little bit away and just go like, Bea is awesome. Bea, she's awesome. Okay, thank you. All right, so tip number 4, make a pillow or blanket fort to serve as a DIY sound booth. Because it's fun, but it also works, I promise. Even if it's just pillow, blanket. Even if it's just that. Another thing, before I go to that, is you can just put your microphone inside your closet, just surround it with clothes, and then record your voice over there real quick. But also if you want to record like an actual video, it's kind of cool. I'm 100% sure if you do it at least once, you're gonna get some people to stop scrolling for a couple of seconds. But hey, it works, right? Tip number 5, Again, audience participation. Put up your hand. Come on, come on. Up, okay. Put it in a fist. Put out your thumb, your pinky. This way. That's how far you should be from the microphone. It's a good, I mean, it's not rule, right? But this is also good. So if you forget, hang loose. That's it, right? Tip number 6. Green is clean, yellow is caution, red is distortion. Okay? Tip number 7, audio recording levels. I'm not gonna go through them, but this is a really good starting point. So you can set it there and then adjust accordingly, depending on how it sounds to you. Tip number 8, watch the meter and not the number. Tip number 9, take the beginning and end of a song and then create a very nice ending. Tip number 10, follow Bea Chu.
So as a beginning person who does video for YouTube, I do use the Rode Go system. Can you just kind of give us what good top things to, good hints for beginners?
I got you. See what I did there? Yeah. I love that Rode is pretty straightforward and it's very easy to use. It's almost plug and play. If there's a nugget that I can give you, which I just found out recently too, is that instead of raising the mic gain in your camera, do that inside Rode instead. Or do that in your whatever microphone you have. Because it's gonna give you a cleaner quality of sound than if you do it inside your camera. And then that's it. Then you're good. One more. Okay, great.
Hi, Bea, right? That's how you say it?
Bea.
Sorry.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Tu. I'm a DJ and I'm trying to start making content and videos, and I tried it myself and it went terribly wrong when I went to edit it. The sound wouldn't stay on time. Like I tried to do something to line it up like a clap kind of thing.
Yeah.
But my sound drifted. Can you explain how that happens?
Right. So the reason that happens, it's really more of a settings thing. You know how when we record a video, right? We've got a couple of different frame rates. Depending on the region that we're at, we would either get a 23 point something or a 24 or a 25. That actually affects it audio-wise. It's not very noticeable if you're just doing video and then A-roll, but then when you're dealing with music, it's a little bit more sensitive. And so I'm not sure when it comes to other editing softwares, but then in Premiere Pro, on your timeline, you can actually enable something called audio units, and that's gonna let you zone in a little bit more into the finer, finer details, and then you're gonna be able to adjust it in smaller increments. There you go. I hope that helps. We good? Okay, fantastic. I got through that, you guys. Thank you.